All of our current mechanisms, they only predict a small portion of women who actually go on and deliver preterm. There isn't a whole lot more disruptive than having a baby preterm when you're scared to death, you're worried about them, they're in the neonatal ICU, they're going through the ICU roller coaster. How much stress is there? A ton of stress. There are a lot of couples, parents, who don't stay together when their babies or go through a NICU experience, when babies have problems. It's really disruptive for families. And it's a real roller coaster ride in the neonatal ICU. They get better, they're doing great, and then they have a setback. That they really, in some ways, go through the stages of mourning. They're mourning the loss of a normal pregnancy and what they expected to have happened. And so you think about what happens with mourning. People get mad, people blame, they're mad at the docs, they're mad at the system, they're mad at themselves because I did something wrong when they probably didn't. So if we can alleviate some of that by figuring out who is really at risk, identifying those patients, and then most importantly, figuring out how to prevent it, which is what we really need to do. So if I had a test, preterm, that said a mom was at risk, previously unidentified risk, and what do I do with it today? Well, today what I do is the things that I do for other moms who are at increased risk for preterm delivery. I increase surveillance, I screen for infections, I watch the cervical length, I encourage her to be very sensitive to signs and symptoms of preterm labor and not ignore them. You might modify some activity a little bit, make sure that they're eating healthy, that their nutritional status is optimized, and mostly they are prepared. What I really need to know, though, are what are the new interventions that we haven't figured out yet. As we start to understand better mechanisms, preterm, the test, that gives us some idea about pathways that are involved in preterm delivery. So if we start to understand the biologic pathways better, then we can start to create new therapies. The earlier you know, potentially the more window, the more opportunity that you might have to intervene. There are some potential interventions that you start early and you have an opportunity to provide them. Now, one of my favorite interventions is group prenatal care. And group prenatal care has shown its benefit by patients throughout their pregnancy. We don't know exactly what it is, but somehow group prenatal care seems to really reduce the risk of preterm birth. We got to do something different. So why not take advantage of a test that can identify a high-risk group of patients so we can now learn about better interventions, start to intervene potentially more effectively, and start to try to solve this problem that is really a worldwide disaster that has huge impact on families and untold long-term impact on the individuals who were born preterm.